Question: am I supposed to be only drinking water on the show?
No, you can drink a cocktail if you want.
All right, cool. I ain't want to mess up the sponsorships.
Not a problem. Here we go. Welcome to another edition of Living a Rich Life, the home version. I am your host, Rich James. And Living a Rich Life is made up of 6 elements. That's what we believe here at Living a Rich Life Network. That's good health, strong relationships, financial freedom, goals and achievement, extraordinary experiences, and philanthropy. Now, here on Living a Rich Life Network, we like to inform and inspire and remind each other of the importance of living a rich life. And again, as I mentioned, we have those 6 principles that we move by, live by, and hopefully we inspire someone to change. Today's show is all about the entertainment industry. We have 2 phenomenal guests. Our special guest is going to be the hosts of Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast. They are a phenomenal, great group of individuals, gentlemen. And then our featured guest, there's something in terms of hip hop in a world of its own. They have that nice hazy funk jazz type thingy, but we'll get into the featured guests when they come in. Without further ado, as I like to say, let's talk about it. And I'll bring them in like this. Today's special guests, 2 single men and fathers, giving their perspective on dating, love, fatherhood, and so much more. Please welcome my good friends, the host of Bourbon and Boy Shorts, Mr. Kyle Whiteford and Jeremy Givens. Welcome.
What's going on? What's positive vibes? What's up? How's everybody going out there?
So first and foremost, I think your partner in crime is, running late, I believe.
Yeah, works. He got a busy work schedule. You know, he's the man now. So new with great responsibilities, with great power comes great responsibilities. So he got to take care of it right now. But I'm here on behalf of both of us until he shows up. So thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
So first and foremost, we'll let you hold down the fort.
Okay.
We got a few folks that watching. They should be watching on beexposedradio.com, and we'll make sure they tune in on Facebook and all that other good stuff. But first and foremost, so Kyle, tell the folks, the listeners that's watching and listening, tell us where you're from.
I'm actually from Baltimore, Maryland as well. Via Harford County, via Harford County. So that's where I'm from.
Native Baltimore guy?
Yeah.
Native Marylander.
Marylander, yeah. All over the place.
Okay. And we're going to get right into it. So how did y'all come up with the name Bourbon and Boy Shorts? That's first and foremost. How'd you come up with that name?
So the name itself was supposed to be, we were supposed to have a pajama party. We were going to throw a pajama party. Okay. And we were just, talking, and it was like, yo, we should do this, and let's do a pajama party, and then let's call it, I don't know, like, what do we drink? We drink whiskey, we drink bourbon. I'm like, bourbon, let's, Bourbon and Boy Shorts. Like, yeah, Bourbon and Boy Shorts. That's it. That's what the party was going to be. So we thought it was, we planned it out so many times, and actually it just never happened. Life schedules happen, job schedules happen, and just some conversations later, we started actually talking to each other about dating and about how we date and how we're dating as, single fathers and do's and don'ts and, compare and contrast. And then finally we were just like, we need to put it on air and let's podcast, let's talk about it. And yeah, Bourbon and Boy Shorts was born.
So it went from a potential pajama party to what we have now here today, Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast.
Yes.
Okay. So that's pretty interesting. So you currently have 144 episodes of the podcast. Yes.
Should be today. I didn't cut you off. Sorry. Today
I know the exact number.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, so today's going to be 145 and 146 are dropping today.
Yep. So you currently, as of we stand right now, have 144 episodes of your podcast.
Yes.
And you cover topics from who saves Batman, even a hero needs a hero. To Boogie by Association, So how do you get the inspiration for these topics, and which are your favorite episodes, first and foremost?
How do we get to these topics? So a lot of the times, we're Bourbon and Boy Shorts, so it's our perspective, single men, but we also have women come on and give their perspectives as well. So it's not just slanted towards just our own thinking and nobody else gets heard and things of that nature. So, the women that we have come on, they're loaded with questions. They want to actually pick our brains. And some just really want to vent and just, get things off of their chest. Favorite episodes. It's so many. I know Black Man, I Love You is a really good one. Okay. That was with Brother Nance. It was a lot of black. It was just, three black men sitting at a table, just uplifting each other, empowering each other, and not afraid to be vulnerable. And we talked about so many things. Actually, the episode that you were on, Rich, when you came on, living a rich life. What was it? Do you love me unconditionally, or
unconditional love?
Unconditional love. That was a powerful episode because we broke down so many things about how people love versus, how they want to love, how they need to love. It's so many, man. I can't even give you my top 5 yet because we still have so many to go.
Right. Well, I appreciate being in that realm.
Yes.
It was definitely an eye opener for me as well to share kind of my story, and I knew I was in a safe place and able to do that, and that was good. I really appreciate that. So can you tell us what's the driving force behind the creation of Bourbon and Boy Shorts, right? And how do you keep the integrity of the initial reason for creating your podcast, right? So I know you talk, fatherhood. You're both single dads. So give us a little bit more on that.
So in this day and age, and especially right now, because it's a little hectic, with the pandemic and everything, but when trying to date as a single parent, period, it doesn't have to be man or woman, just a single parent, period. There are a lot of stipulations that people either are aware of or not aware of. Every day, somebody has a different point of view, a different opinion, a different, just outlook on dating, an outlook on men, an outlook on women. And each time, we're always experiencing something, and we're always experiencing someone new. So I think with those new experiences every day, it keeps our material fresh. It keeps the listeners listening. And it keeps people wanting to, find out, what do we really think? What do men really think about when this situation happens? Or what do they do when this situation happens? Or I didn't know y'all even think like that. I didn't know you guys even felt anything, because a lot of times, women tend to look at us as kind of emotionalists when it comes to vulnerability and things of that nature. So I think just with people experiencing different things every day, it keeps that driving force going and wanting to find out more about ourselves and other people.
Do you have a favorite topic of discussion? I think all of them, and I listen very frequently. I always enjoy when you're talking with women, and it involves relationship aspects. I enjoy those. But do you have a specific favorite topic versus what Jay might have?
You're
smiling.
No, because it is a lot. But I think when we start getting into the do's and don'ts and how everybody treats maybe a first date or the first 3 months, or how they treat going about finding somebody or dating them for a purpose, or if the purpose was even fulfilled. I think those questions and those topics are really intriguing to me, because, like I said, everybody dates so differently, and everybody dates, nobody's the same in dating. So it's not funny, but it's just good to see that so many perspectives and so many people have either been taught certain things, have not been taught certain things. They have to learn them on their own. And by them learning them on their own and not being taught, it kind of like they get an eye opener sometimes when they come to us because of our advice or our point of view, and they haven't even close to experiencing that. So that's how that is.
Okay. So what's the normal process? And I see you got your bourbon. What's kind of the normal process when it comes to walk us through when you're getting set up and prepared for a Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast?
So typically, when we show up, or I show up and we get to the studio, we talk, and I mean, we ask each other how each other's day is going. We just talk. We just talk. We kind of like debrief each other. Like, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. If we have a guest, then it's like, well, she said she wants to come on and talk about this, but she said, we also ask the guests when they come on, what's off limits, because we definitely want to protect the privacy of our guests. We don't want them to be uncomfortable with any questions, especially if they're like still dealing with, maybe a relationship or as the new word has been going around, the entanglement. So we just want to make sure that the guest or guests are comfortable with talking about, with just being vulnerable with us and being on camera, because sometimes we do go live from Instagram. So we want to make sure that they're comfortable with that. If they don't want to do cameras, that's fine, and we can just talk. And then we just go from there. We sometimes we actually pick a certain whiskey or bourbon that goes with the episode. We actually know what we want to drink. So that kind of, and we introduce other people to bourbons and whiskey. So that, a lot of people are like, nah, I don't want none. And then we give them a sip, and then they're like, oh yeah. And then about the fourth cup, they're like, well, let me tell you something about this. It's really good to see people open up and be comfortable. And I think that's the most important part, is making our guests comfortable with us to share themselves with everybody else out there.
So you give them that liquid courage, so to speak. That's
what we don't give them anything. They ask for it. So it's, we put the ball in their court,
Okay. So in your recent episode, you talked about Black families matter.
Yes.
You all broke down the role Carl played in his household as the father in Family Matters and compared it to Bill Cosby's Heathcliff. And you analyzed the dynamics between Will and Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So how did y'all come up with that idea of discussing this? And what was your takeaway from that episode?
That episode was hilarious and great at the same time. We weren't supposed to talk about that, but it wound up just happening.
Why do you feel you wasn't supposed to talk about that?
No, what I'm saying is it wasn't even like nothing we were going to talk about.
Oh, okay. It wasn't planned. Just went with it.
Yeah. So I think how it started was we were talking about sitcoms or whatever, and as I was younger, watching Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and the Cosbys, that's three different Black families that were on TV that were being portrayed, but Family Matters versus Cosby's versus Fresh Prince, every dynamic was different. So you had Bill and Claire, who were very successful, a Black doctor, a Black lawyer. They groomed their kids always on hard work and integrity. Even though they, on paper, they had money, but they treated their kids as if they didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? So, and that value right there, they really had to work for everything in that house, and they really didn't give them any cut cards because of their success. With Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Uncle Phil and Will, their dynamic was a good teaching lesson as well, because you had Will coming from West Philly, the hood, and Uncle Phil was Will at one point, and he made it out, and now he has a family of his own who didn't have to go through the trials and tribulations that he had to go through, growing up in the hood or the farm and segregation and racism and everything like that. So with Carlton, and then you break it down further with Carlton and Will, with Carlton, he was so oblivious to racism and classism and socialism. He was so oblivious to all of these things, but he just knew that he used his classism in a lot of ways, throughout the series, and his social status and money and everything like that. But Will was always like the grinder. He was always the worker bee, and he always had to find a way to try to do it on his own. His pride never really let him ask Uncle Phil for much. He asked, but he got turned down, and then he found another way to try to do it on his own, which is what I commended him most about that series. Is Will always try to find a way to make it on his own. But then we get to Family Matters, and their dynamic was just really like it was really soft. Like it wasn't nothing that we could I could grasp onto as like, yeah, that family reminds me of my family. Everybody tuned in for Steve Urkel. We all know that.
Right.
So, I mean, we weren't watching to see like, oh man, I wonder what Carl's going to tell Eddie this episode. I wonder how Harriet's going to handle Laura this episode. It was like, yo, what is Steve going to do this Friday night? You know what I mean? So it just, they try to give you that full house feel with a black family, and it just doesn't work.
Right.
And then you just got a goofy nerd that comes in there, destroys everything for 30 minutes, and then, episode's over, and then everybody has a good laugh, and then we're out of there. Right. So
now there were a couple of messages in there, right?
No, I'm saying every sitcom has, like you said in the episode, racism, drugs, and sex. So those are basically like the main three topics that they all, that they all have to go through. Even with, Eddie's running with racism with the law, they pulled him over. He was a black kid in the wrong neighborhood, nice car. His dad really didn't like take his side at first. And I was like, wow, like as a black police officer, like you hesitated on listening to your own son cry. He has tears in his eyes telling him that a white cop pulled him, like racially profiled him, and you're trying to be a police officer right now. Like, yo, that's your son.
Right. So let's dig into that as we wait for your partner to come in, right?
Yeah.
So that happened some years ago. Mm-hmm. Let's bring it to 2020. We're now at a point where we're having conversations. These officers are actually finally being charged. 2020, this is probably like the first time that actually all 4 officers have been fired. And these officers are all being charged for different things for killing George Floyd, which now has kind of erupted a serious Black Lives Matter movement, which I think I haven't seen at this scale, at least in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's involving a lot of different things. What do you think is going to take? What's the next steps, in your opinion, as it pertains to police brutality associated with Black Lives Matter and things of that nature? What do you think is the next steps?
Because there are so many cases with police brutality, and it's not just George Floyd. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, George Floyd basically was the straw that broke our back, which is not true. But with this day and age,
things to light. Cases to light.
Yes. So with our technology and camera phones and going viral, it really helped us. It really helped push the issue of police brutality and just overall racism and just injustice, period. Because even to the fact that now we have white people that are joining our cause, because before they weren't joining in. When Freddie Gray happened, it was just us. We were mad, we were angry, we were in the streets, even if we had to riot, even if whatever we had to do, looting and all that stuff like that. But now we have white people actually joining us. We have white people who are actually standing together. And I think that had that taken place with Freddie Gray, or maybe even before that, but since it's just new age, I got to speak on new age. If that would have happened with Freddie Gray, or even Trayvon Martin or Michael Brown, I do believe that a lot of what is taking place now wouldn't have been to the magnitude of what it is now back then.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, when it comes to those types of events, we've had, white people, white folks join in support, and they would agree. But I think at this level now, is more of a difference where you have the younger generation telling that older generation, their parents who might, be racist or whatever the case is, but they're telling other white folks that that's not cool. And I think for me, that's kind of the game changer.
Yeah.
That's the game changer. But we'll see in terms of what the next steps look like. If folks are going to continue to push forward, that's really what we're going to have to do. Just I think as a race, as well as culture, and you just got to stay focused and consistent. Consistency has been the word for me, just in general, right? When it comes, we got to be consistent because 3 months down the line, we don't want to have this discussion again, and there's no change. That's
because at that point in 3 months down the line, will it be a discussion?
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? Because we don't know. It's a lot of angry people out there, and it's to the point where you can only tell somebody so many times, use your mind to beat the system, use your books, use this, go vote. These things work. But at the same time, me going to vote is not going to stop another officer from running up, falsely accusing another Black person, woman, young, old, whatever, of, any of just racial profiling. And then next thing you know, it's another T-shirt, another hashtag being made, and it's another say my name, and I can't say anymore. I can't say anybody else's name because at this point, you are responding. Like now, we're not even talking no more. Like we've done enough talking, we've done enough protests. There's no more talking.
Right.
So we don't want it to come to that, and a lot of that goes into the media, what they push and how they push it. And you got the Karens of the world, and you got these people who are just.
Karen, I love how I love how that the Karens, names.
The Karens and the Craigs of the or Karens. I don't know what it Kens and Karens, whatever. But but these people of the world, man, they just constantly exist, and they constantly just keep showing their ugly heads. And sometimes we don't always have to videotape it. We can actually handle it ourselves and without a videotape. But I mean, I know we want to expose these people, but at the same time, you really could just have that conversation. If it gets to the point where you feel like you can't control your actions or your mouth, or they're just not listening to reason, like there's nothing else to be said, because now you're stooping down to their level of thinking and actions, and it's going to be no positive outcome. So.
Okay. So Jeremy chimed in because he's here. He made himself known, and he's like, I see you guys, and he says some things require a change of the mindsets of others, and I think that's key. So I just wanted to kind of go on that direction, but we really want to get into stay focused on you guys as hosts, Bourbon and Boy Shorts. And so one of the things, again, you guys are single fathers. And so can you tell the viewers that's watching, what's your perspective on dating during quarantine, and what's the best way, in your opinion, to actually connect now?
It's
right. What's your perspective? I mean, you quarantine, so can you really date? You have, you
can. I think now it's become more easier to shoot a shot, as we say. You can shoot a shot, and it's like, we already quarantined, pardon my language. I mean, we already quarantined, and I mean, you ain't really going nowhere.
So it's okay to slide in the DM? Is that what you're saying?
Respectfully slide in the DM. Now, I wouldn't say, come in there all.
Gotcha.
So I'm just saying it's ways to go about it. And if the shot works, then you figure some quarantine stuff out. Like you guys can FaceTime, watch a movie together. Now that outside is halfway open, I guess you can, kind of go up, meet at the park. You don't really got to go out to dinner, and you can go out to a park, plan a picnic, get some sandwiches. It's easy to do these things, but then it just has to be done. You can't be timid. You still got to be cautious because the pandemic is not over. But there are ways around it. Like music has been for me, music has been the biggest influencer, this whole thing, you know, with all the DJs and everything like that. So it's easy to discover, like if you vibe with somebody through music, then discover music together. If you whatever your vice is, like discover something together with that person and then just build off of that. And let your guys mind wander. You know, this ways work.
Right. So everyone that's watching and listening, we asked Kyle, one of the hosts of Bourbon and Boy Shorts, regarding dating during the quarantine, and pretty much, you know, I'll summarize what he said was kind of, you can slide in the DMs respectfully, and you still can actually date quarantine. You know, and Jeremy says definitely easier to shoot a shot. Caller just laughs. She just laughs out loud. I wonder if, hey caller, if you're listening, if someone shoot a shot at you, that's what we want to know. So let's talk about, because you mentioned music is one of the things you can do. So recently, you guys had a Jodeci versus Dru Hill song battle, right? Is that?
Yeah, man, yeah, that was
Yeah.
Improv too.
I got a good team, so be careful now. I'll bring up stuff you don't even remember.
Yeah, bro, relax.
So who won? So who won that DJ battle?
So,
who do you think?
My opinion, a lot of people are probably go Jodeci. I actually went with Dru Hill.
Okay.
Because Dru Hill was a huge underdog in that argument. Everybody was like, nah, Jodeci hands down. I said it, y'all. I'm like, really listen to Dru Hill's like first two albums and understand that Jodeci's first album and Dru Hill's first album are really like neck and neck. Their second album is kind of, you know, one slice the other, but you got to think about everybody's side projects, everybody's features. You know, even when Jodeci broke up and it was Casey and JoJo, you got to factor those songs in. So it's me personally, I went with Dru Hill, not just because of hometown, but they were the underdog. I like underdogs.
Okay, and so Jeremy says a nice, respectable DM has been working well. Discover your vices together. You got to discover your devices together. I'm gonna say, I think, because again, one thing I do notice that you guys, you work very well with each other. You kind of complement each other very well, going back and forth.
Yeah.
So I think that is good. Now, one thing I do remember in being on your podcast was your music selection that you have. What's the motivating factor for the music that you choose, right? We know you choose different bourbons.
Yes.
But what's the motivating factor for the music that you choose?
Music, I really, so when you came, well, even prior to you coming on the show, we have sat and listened to music, and we've been out, you know, and I know how to gauge people on what their vibe is. So for me, even if I don't know what you're listening to before you get out the car, I can sometimes sense a vibe, and I'll just play a song like, hey, what you think about this? And, you know, usually in your famous phrase, that's my song. That's my song. So if I get a, you know, that's my song, and I get a, you know, vibe or whatever, then that's the song that I'll go with. Or I'll try to pick, you know, stay in that genre of music. It's just really, I figure whiskey and music are like, or liquor, but I'll say bourbon and whiskey and music are like are a foundation of a great friendship.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Jeremy says Dru Hill has more hits. Jodeci has more nostalgia. You agree? Yeah, you don't agree with that? I'm on the show.
More nostalgia. Yeah, I can see what he said. Yeah, because they came out early 90s. So in that sense, yes. I mean, Dru Hill came out 95, 96. So.
All right. Well, I'm already logged in.
All right, cool. All right, cool. I'm good. You understood. You're cutting into my interviews. This won't happen again.
My bad. Go ahead. My bad.
I tell you, boy. Oh, goodness. So, all right. Well, let me see. Let me see. First of all, I like your intro. Jay with the suede.
Oh, man, that brother got
Oh my goodness, I love your intro, and I was hoping to get that. So maybe Jay will be able to join it at some point in time. But I love your intro. I love your intro. So also, so who selects the music? Is that more you?
Yeah, that's. I've been dubbed musical director of the podcast.
That's what he said. He said,
Yeah, it's a musical director.
Okay, all righty. Any special guests that you would love to have on the podcast, and what kind of topics would you discuss? So, who would you like to have on the show, and what kind of topics would you discuss with them?
On a more celebrity level, there's so many people. I mean, a lot of artists. From I'll just name some people that I listen to. So I would love to have like underground people like her. And I don't, I still consider her underground, like her, Ari Lennox, Snow, Daniel Caesar. I would like to just listen to, just pick their brains on music and how they find their sound and their, and even in their way through the industry. On an entertainment level, definitely would like to have, I would like to have Will Smith on. That would be dope. And not even to even deep dive back into the whole him and Jada situation, just his mind, period. Him and Jamie Foxx, because as actors, they are very intelligent. And for Jamie Foxx more so because of his switch up between R&B, singing, and acting, and impressions, and things of that nature. Mm-hmm.
And comedy.
And yeah, all of that. So I'm a huge Jamie Foxx fan. Jim Carrey, I would love to talk to Jim Carrey. He's very insightful. It's a list of people, man. I don't know.
All right. So as we go through, we talk about balance. So how do you have the balance now between, one thing that you do versus the podcast, family, friends? I think it's been relatively easy during this pandemic, but how did you balance everything?
When we first took off in 2017.
Okay, so y'all been at it for 3 years now.
Yes, yeah, we just recently April 20th. Oddly enough, April 20th, 2017, we dropped our first episode. And since then, we've been grinding. But the balance at first was easy. I think once the second year hit and we really started like catching fire, and hosting events and, just really networking like hard. We were super networking hard as heck. The demand for this entity became a little higher, and it was basically me. I had to explain to baby girl, my kids, like, listen, Thursday I got to record. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. You can come here with this event for me. You can do this with me. So you can find that balance, but you can still also include the kids and finessing your work schedule. So like, look, I can work 2 nights here, but then I need the days for these 2. So it's a lot of back and forth, and we ran ourselves ragged last year. Last year when I say we did so much last year, I mean, it would be from Monday, we would go talk to a vendor, and then we go have some drinks, and then, I'm back up at 4, working from 6 to 6. I get off, come downtown, meet up with another vendor. Then Wednesday, we had a happy hour events that we were doing, stay there for happy hour, leave at 12, wake back up at 4, back to work again, come back again, podcast Friday, another event Saturday, another podcast, another family event. And it was just continuous for literally the past 2 years. Right. So the pandemic actually came in handy, for rest.
Right. Slow things down a little bit.
Yeah, okay. we did.
Okay. So Jay must have been reading my mind, because I was going to ask the question if there are any things taboo that you would not talk on the podcast. But he says we do want to have the interracial dating conversation on the podcast as well. So I said, I guess that's something that's coming, interracial dating.
Yeah, but if we trying to listen, I mean, I ain't. It's gonna sound bad, but we looking for white women that like black men for the podcast. We're looking for white women who are very much interested in dating black men, just so we can get their perspectives.
So let's put it out there. All right, if you're watching, you're listening. When you do watch and when you listen, you can get a hold of Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast. They are looking for women interested on being in the podcast that are attracted to black men. So
yes.
that's the thing.
Single.
They gotta be single.
They don't gotta be, but we would prefer them to be single. Yes,
but he prefer them to be single. Okay,
mm-hmm.
So that should be an interesting conversation. I will be sure to tune in on that episode. For sure. But other than that, are there any topics that's off limit to discuss on your show?
We don't really. I know we don't really deep dive into religion too much. Politics is another one that we talk about some politics, but I know like usually religion and politics are like the ones we don't really touch on too. Go ahead.
Why not?
I think just based upon the fact of we all share different ideologies and we just want to make sure that when we share our opinions and everything like that, because a lot of times religion and politics could be a very hypocritical. There are very hypocritical topics.
You
know what I mean? Yeah. So we don't tend to harp on them too much. Now we'll talk about, hey, this is the issue right now that we're having with our government, or hey, I was in church, and do y'all ever experience this in church when you're in church and you're at your peak hunger when you're in church? We'll probably talk about something like that, but we won't deep dive into like the breakdowns and the what God do you serve and things like that. We kind of we leave that alone. Yeah.
Okay, because ultimately, again, as I mentioned here, our focus on living a rich life is we want to inform and inspire others, right? So whatever that looks like for you, I think we should all be able to have that discussion. Because I have this discussion when we talk politics with some friends of mine who support, President Trump. Right? And he is, regardless of what people say, they don't want to say that's not my president. Well, you live here. So again, I keep it real. I don't see how you can slice that up any other way. He's probably not a very good one in my opinion, but at the end of the day, I ask questions, they answer. So I definitely agree. But again, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that folks are focused and being good to each other. At the end of the day, being good to themselves first, so that they can actually live a rich life. And that's ultimately what we want to do.
Absolutely.
Bourbon and Boy Shorts, you guys, traveling anywhere time soon? Got anything planned?
It was actually this month was supposed to be my VA beach month for baby girl's birthday, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I want to do it, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. I've been doing my best to not go out, even though I've been invited to a slew of parties, and I'm just still like, nah, I'm still gonna take my time and go through my regular schedule or agenda, work and come home. And if I got to do the podcast and do the podcast, but other than that, a couple trips to the grocery store and I'm home. Not really doing too much right now. No.
Yeah, because it's still out there. I mean, I just recently did that. I just hosted a black carpet event, and I did that. I would like to say I was in and out, but that wasn't the case. But I did wear a mask for most of the time. But my executive director, who's really the boss of the show, she scolded me for not having my mask on. So,
Yeah, man.
Well, it's almost the time, but Jeremy we got a few more minutes. Let's keep it going. I want to talk about, where did you come up with the idea for Cyber Soul Sundays? Where did that come from, and how has that evolved since COVID? Now that's because I'll be listening.
Very good, Rich. Very good. And I'm glad you asked that. No, so recently, Jeremy, I gotta give all the credit to Jeremy. I wouldn't say last year. I was talking to him about, listen, I want to start DJing because I love music. I love to play music, and I love what you can do and how many variations of songs are there, blah, 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 whatever. So I was like, well, he was like, yo, why don't you just see if there's an app for it? So I was like, all right, there's an app. I found the app, and I'm trying to get this right. And shout out to DJ Protocol. He's always our go-to DJ. He's basically on payroll for Bourbon and Boy Shorts. So I hope he hears this, and we still need our 30%. But anyway, so I started messing around with the app, and finding different songs. I would listen to Questlove. I would listen to DJ D Nice, and I would really like pick up on old gems that I've never even heard before. So for me, I just started messing around with it, kept playing, kept trying to get better, kept trying to get better. So just talking to Jeremy, I'm like, well, what can we do? Because we can't really record like we used to. What can we do to keep ourselves engaged? And how can we capitalize off of, the pandemic? I said, well, what if I DJ on Sundays and just call it Cyber Soul Sunday? So I said, well, I started with just playing a song by song, just aux chording it up. Just boom, pick a song, boom, pick a song, talk to the people. Let's talk. Hey, how's everybody doing? Then it really turned into me like actually starting to DJ and starting to blend songs and mix them. And from there, it just buried it. 2 months ago, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, I look forward to Sundays. I got to say that. Some days you'll be so late. Y'all some days though, y'all be so late. Brother gotta get his beauty sleep.
Yeah, some days, man, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it'll be days where I'm just sitting in the house and I'm not doing anything. The kids are off doing their own thing, and I'm just like, well, it's a good enough time right now to practice. So I go live. I try different mixes. I try different things. Try different songs, different genres, and just to see, the response that I get. And for the most part, I haven't had any negative comments. So I'm just going to keep going until, crash and burn. But hopefully it doesn't happen.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we like to keep on schedule here. I'm trying to give Jeremy a few more minutes, but I think we'll get him in. So tell us when the podcast airs.
So every Wednesday we drop a new episode, Wednesday or Thursday. Wait a minute, I hear something. Could it be?
Nah, 6 weeks, my bad, man.
What's going on? You made it.
So you can find us at Apple Podcast,
Spotify, Google Play.
Yeah, there you go, man. Get some camera time, brother. I did enough.
SoundCloud,
Instagram,
of course, YouTube, a couple videos, Facebook, obviously. But yeah, we're there, we're everywhere.
Okay, and before we go, let's start with Kyle. Tell us what does living a rich life mean to you, Kyle?
Living a rich life means living your life to the fullest and to your fullest potential and in your purpose. Just making sure you are your truest self at all times and never second guess yourself. Always have that confidence.
Okay. Jeremy.
Living a rich life, I think it's very simple. It's following and fulfilling your goals, your dreams, and your aspirations. Like if you accomplish those three things, you live in a rich life.
Okay. I had a couple of questions for you guys, man, that because again, like I said, as I told Kyle earlier, you guys really complement each other real well. I think when one pushes, the other one will pull if necessary, and vice versa. I mean, at the end of the day, if you both need to push, you push. If you both need to pull, you pull. But I definitely appreciate your time. I look forward to getting out there.
Yes.
And the last event you had, but right before, but was the sneaker.
Sneakers, yeah.
Shoes and sneakers. So those types of events, folks, that's some of the things you can expect from Bourbon and Boy Shorts.
Yeah.
They have other merchandise. They have lovely T-shirts and things of that nature. So by all means, want you to go out there and support those guys, and I will continue to support. I do thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, brother. We appreciate
Always a pleasure. Can't wait till we can get together again.
Yes.
Exactly. Stay strong, and until then, I'll talk to you soon. And I want you to keep being inspired to live a rich life.
Always, man.
Always.
Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Peace.
All right. So there you have it, folks. That was our special guest, Kyle Whiteford and Jeremy Givens, the host of Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast. You can follow them, Bourbon and Boy Shorts podcast, on Instagram, as well as on Facebook. So all those things. Now, I got to say, I have the pleasure of knowing my next guests. They are my featured guests. And I got to say, they are definitely one of the best hip hop artists, in my opinion. They started back in the 90s. They caught fire with its smash underground single, L.I. Groove, a tune that was affirmed through a Rakim sample. These guys are known for fusing hip hop and R&B style vocals. This group dropped the album Ism and Groove, which explode and explored the three true things these guys love, which was weed, women, and hip hop. The album produced the horn-heavy Ghetto Diamond and Fortified and Ode to Beautiful Women of Hip Hop Persuasion, and Heels Without Souls, which was another favorite of mine. I can go on and on and on, but I want y'all to welcome one of my favorite hip hop artists, my friends, Hard to Obtain, aka H2O.
Yo,
Good.
was good.
Who we got on? We got Taste and we got DL and 6-7 out there together.
Yeah.
Fellas, first
I was trying to make it over there, Lodge. Word of mother. Was good.
First and foremost, they trying to join the audio taste. All right,
There you go. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, what's up there, RJ? How you doing there?
Yo, everything is good. I want to thank y'all for joining. I've been talking to Miles to put this together for started. It's been a whole year. Because one of the things I wanted to do a year ago, God damn it, was
only somebody like yourself could pull us together. You know what I mean? It's honor. It's an honor. You know what I mean? To especially have H2O. That's some real thing.
And the thing is, gentlemen, folks are still listening to your music. I don't know if y'all know that, but folks are still listening to your music.
I think we more so have a bigger audience now than we did then. Actually, like as the more the time goes on, to me, the more of a classic it becomes. It stands the test of time.
Yeah.
I'm like, for myself, I'm blessed with 3 sons, and you know, if they don't remind me of the experiences, you know, in itself, you know, it's a blessing in itself. That keeps it going for me.
Absolutely, because to me, in my opinion, the style, right? Because you infused R&B, jazz, you know, funk. I mean, it was just phenomenal how you guys put that stuff together.
Yo, I can say this in and low end and six. We was Puff before Puff. Like a lot of the time, you know what I mean? It's just that we got caught into the SD50 mode of production and things like that. But we started with doing records just over old school joints.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, way before up in the attic, we spent like tons of hours just like going through records, and then after like signing the deal with the SD50s, God bless Geeb, you know, rest his soul. You know, that was a great experience, but it kind of stifled the experience of who we were. And it's like to turn around and see it come into like right after to see like Puff and the rest of these cats do it. It was like, damn, we were there.
Yeah, so we were right there.
So yeah, that I know. This is something I've never asked, and I've known you guys for quite some time. How did you come up with the name Hard to Obtain?
Low came up. That was Low that came up with that shit. Actually.
All right, DL, tell us what kind of what that's like.
I mean, for me, it was more or less like, you know, coming from the island, we was always trying to be creative and stick to what we knew You know what I mean? So water, as far as water, was something you couldn't live with, something you couldn't. I mean, something you had to live with, something you couldn't live without. And as far as
you know, froze.
Obtain, you know what I mean? So it just all just correlate with, you know, what we're doing. I don't know if it was like some bud or, you know, couple 40 ounces. So it all.
Okay, and that's probably a good intro. So one of the things I pride myself on at this point in my life is being organized. And I talked with my producer, and my producer's gonna do something right quick. So check this out. Monty, you there?
I'm here.
Monty?
What
Can we run that? Can we run
Yo,
that?
big up to my man Storm on the listening. He just hit me.
Yeah, it's all right.
I got it.
It's all.
So what my producer, he's queuing up something. I got a little surprise for you. And speaking of G Storm, so again, I want to know because I think he appeared on one of your songs, Street Dweller.
Street Dweller.
He was right there. He was right there for all of that, man. Right?
Yo, like Storm used to be the one to keep pushing us, like, yo, keep it going. You niggas is hot. Like he was definitely appreciated in the process.
Absolutely. So for people that have not heard your songs just yet, right? What song would you put them on to first?
Well, for me, I would say Babylon. I would say that because for me, I think that gave, to me, it was a rhythm. It was a rhythm. No, actually the whole album, you know. But I would say Babylon because it was up tempo, and I think that was something that would have carried us. Taste was like just relentless on the lyrics, you know, and I think that was just one of the songs I think clearly would have taken us to a whole nother level, would have crossed us over. Not that we didn't have.
I honestly, I think our biggest mistake was not putting out Street Dwellers. Was not putting out Street Dwellers for the second single. Putting out Ghetto Diamond instead of Street Dwellers. I think had Street Dwellers would have dropped second, all our lives would be different right now.
Yeah, well, that was more of a poet type of creative, which was it was dope. It was definitely a creative record at that time. It wasn't a trash record. It wasn't like like you put something. It was really a thought record. Like, and it's crazy because it probably pertains to like what we deal with now in today's.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beat was so hard. Like he really wanted to push. I really think that was one of our bigger mistakes in decision making was not putting out Street Dwellers as a second single because it really was more relevant to L.I. Groove, beat-wise, and all of those things.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've been. So let's talk about some of your resources that's been around you. I think your road manager, Miles Eason. What was his impact with the group?
Well, Miles was always a great he was an organizational guy. So he was always kept us on time, kept us in pocket, as they would say, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like the general, like he would fold his clothes. He was like so, you know what I mean? Like you know, he was perfect for the job. Even now, he's the reason why we're here now. Like even now, I was like, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
He's still moving in those same aspects.
He was just yelling at us to get our asses up on here.
That's why I called him. That's why I called him. So I'm gonna ask something in a selfish way. Is there any chance that you could put something together? I think the times have changed so much that you don't necessarily need that major label to put something together. Is there any chance that we can hear a hard to obtain song, album somewhere along the lines in the future? And I'm asking for my own selfish reasons.
Well, I'm sure it's possible. It's feasible. It's just a matter of, it's just a matter of people, us as adults now having the time to do it.
Right. Okay. What's your thoughts, DL?
I mean, like I said, I have some youth that run around. You know, a lot of times they play the music, they laugh at me, in a good way. But a lot of times they play it consistently. So, with that saying, I think it's all possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now music is taking that 20, 25 year switch around now.
Right.
Especially
much more conscious. You got to have more substance and content in your music than just,
right.
Anybody no club, not right now.
And what I will say, so because one of the things is we are videoing and we are streaming live right now, and I will send you the link because right now I got actually Li Groove that's playing in the background, but you guys can't see it, so it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. We got somebody that just and G Storm also said Sweet Dwellers was nuts. Somebody asked, Street Dwellers would have really changed the game. Ghetto Diamonds was hot, but they would have preferred Street Dwellers. Okay.
Well, sometimes when you're in a group or you sign to a production deal and you might not be able to make the decision on your own, and you might have to vote to make a decision. So sometimes that's what happened in that case.
Right.
So tell us, really, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Right.
But
Right.
it is. If they for people who never heard it, I mean, play it, bump it. I mean, it makes this shit like bump it, like come on, give it up.
What advice would you give? What advice would you give to someone that was trying to get into the industry now? What advice would you give to a young?
Don't do it. Nah, yo. Nah, today, but now the industry is so different nowadays because there's no procurement. There's like you don't think about albums. Everything is microwave. Everything is one-offs, a single here, single there. It's very rare that you get a artist that puts together a full project. So it's a total different landscape now.
Yeah, I would say like try to lock up with whoever is like hot out there on some media, like on a social tip, and for some reason try to lock up with them and get them a part of your project. Because other than that, the way these young folks pop it off, I don't know.
Yeah, it's different.
All right,
the typical teams don't, don't give up. Of course, all of those things. But in the same breath,
okay, DJ 6-7. Let me ask you the question: you still DJing?
Say again?
You still DJing?
Yeah, man. Still DJing, still spinning. I was just spinning a few minutes ago at the crib.
Okay. Yeah. You still rhyming, writing a little of what?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we mess with a little something, just some exercise.
Hey,
what we do.
And I understand they called you Taste the Terror.
Yeah. That nigga can't stop rhyming right there, boy.
You still rhyming?
I mean, it's in my blood. I actually
every day. I bet
you're
still spitting off the top of his head every day.
Yeah. Every now and again, I get back in and jab a little bit. It's like an old fighter getting back in the gym. You know what I mean?
This guy get Taste in the box. You know what I mean? You get him in the box, you know what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But I actually have an artist that I'm about to put out, a kid from New Orleans named Jacan, who's super dope. But he reminds me of like our kind of music. You know what I mean? Real content. He's dope. So I'm actually about to shoot a couple of videos on him, and he kind of reminds me of where we would have been at this point in our career.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I know some of the folks that you work with. Maybe you can share with some of the viewers and the listeners who are some of the folks that you work with, because you have one joint with Artifacts, which I loved.
Right.
Yeah. Some of the folks that you work with.
Well, of course, DJ Nasty on production. Of course, Artifacts. As far as show-wise, Leaders of New School, Brand Nubian. I mean, it's just a bunch of golden era guys. Biggie, Pop. We've been on stage with all the greats.
Yeah. Run DMC.
Run DMC. That was our last show, as a matter of fact, right?
Yeah.
Our last show, we opened up for Run DMC. Yeah.
From a group to come from a small town, we call it a little wreck. If we would call the second album, I think we'd call some burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a second album we would have been a lot more comfortable and a lot more who we are, or as people, we'd have been able to kind of say that a lot better the second go round.
And look at the class. Look at our rookie class.
Yeah.
Come on. 94.
Yeah. Everybody came out in '94.
Everybody was creative. It wasn't like it wasn't
Everybody
a particular.
came
You
out.
had a variety of hip hop, you know.
Okay. So let me break quick. We have the lines are open for BeExposedRadio.com. So if y'all want to call in and ask MC Taste, DL, DJ 6sev any questions, or you can continue to ask them through the chat. But if you want to call and speak to them directly, you can call 443-642-9403. So, just let us know what you think. Someone says, Old Man Ben was a classic.
It's one of my favorite records.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite records.
But
Yeah, that shit was hard.
That shit
beat
was
was
hard.
so the beat was. I remember when I first heard that beat. I remember saying to 6 and Glow, I was like, "This beat is fit for a story. We got to put a story on this record." And you smack.
I mean, pardon me, if we could have like done things over, I think I would have taken the more of the story route, because that would have definitely, the videos would have been different.
Yeah,
you know, and
creativity,
because we had a lot of creativity that was pretty much stifled. I think.
Yeah.
So you can go back, you can pick and choose, but
Right. Well, no, again, you definitely have a presence still, and I wanted to make sure that you understood that you've definitely kind of instilled in a lot of folks. They appreciate your music, because I'm going to tell you, I play it, and they be like, "Yo, who is that?" I'm like,
right.
those are my dudes. And Miles will tell you, I've been trying to get a CD. Yes, I still play CDs, damn it. But I got the whole album. I had to download it. I got the whole album. So when I bump it, they wondering like, who is that? They like the flow. They never heard, and to this day, I've never heard nothing like that to this day. How you synergize stuff. That's true. That's fact.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you on that.
Word.
No doubt. So let's get in. We got a few more questions coming in. So which artists out now would you consider mentoring, and who do you think truly needs to
None of them. No, I'm just kidding.
Who needs some help right now?
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you who really, what young artists really caught my eye, and God bless today, was Pop Smoke. Like his voice was crazy, delivery was crazy, and it was just refreshing to hear. But my favorite Griselda records, Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, and West Side Guns. I don't know if y'all are on it, you know what I mean? But if y'all ain't on that, y'all need to get on that. That's where hip hop. That is the most refreshing thing in hip hop right now.
Okay.
I would have to ask my youth, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely that Pop Smoke, that Canarsie. He was hitting for sure. You know what I mean?
Says he get a shout out.
Yo, Large, Cav, are y'all on Griselda yet? Benny the Butcher and Conway and West Side Gun?
I know Conway.
I still
listen,
I'll be stuck on that week.
As soon as this interview is over, go listen to it. It's gonna pop your skull. Trust me.
I'm sure my youth, they be listening to something real hard. Sometimes I'm like, yo, can you turn that down? They be wanting to bump it outside. I'm like, damn, we getting old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still a lot that's doing it, and it's like it keeps you rocking, you know. I like them Absol. I like
Baby
on the West Coast.
The baby. I don't know which one, but he hard right now.
Oh yeah, the baby, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. The Baby and Lil Baby. Well, I like both of them.
No, but he hard right now.
So it's
okay. So there's some out there that you think are rocking right now, and then there's some that just like you said.
Future is always slamming. You know, I gotta give Future, he keep it right. You know what I mean?
See, the only thing about today is that there is no filter. So it doesn't take for a label to put out your record. So there's just so much of it that comes out every day that is just hard to keep track.
Right.
I like
for me, I keep it easy, man. You know, I'm an older guy now, so I just listen to The Weeknd and try not to, cause because he hard too.
But I like it's still old heads that's doing it. Still cats are still rocking every day who was from my era, man. I still love that.
No, like
you know?
even for LL to go hard on this Black Lives Matter, you know, the time just to hear that and hit Public Enemy, it was just good to hear, you know, some elderly brothers, you know, hope no disrespect, but the older guys.
So L is on the L, you know, L of course from New York. L is on the list to be on the show, so y'all make sure y'all tune in when he's on. Goddamn it.
Absolutely.
But I had put priority because, like I said, H2O. That's my dude. That's my dude. So let me ask you. So again, so Heals Without Souls also, which I thought should have been number 3 single. What was your inspiration behind the song Heals Without Souls?
Actually, Gibi came up with that concept. That was Gibi's beat, and then I mean, it was just a play on words. It was just talking about soulless individuals where you have a heel but you have no soul.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
A play on words of a shoe.
Okay. I like that. So how does that resonate now in 2020 with you, anyways? Does that resonate?
Yeah, that resonates. That's one of those forever resonations. It's just about real life situations.
Okay.
Sure.
That's it's a lot of brothers out here, you know, who walk on their heels, but they don't have their soul together, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, real. So yeah, it resonate today for sure.
And that was the dope thing about Gibi is Gibi used to give you a beat, but then he would give you a concept with the beat, and that was super dope about what Gibi used to do.
Nice. So one of the things, like I said, so in the beginning of my show, I always do the intro. Living a Rich Life is about, you know, informing, inspiring, making sure that, you know, we're letting folks know the best ways, you know, how they should live, how they can live a rich life, because you can't really tell anyone, but you're trying to give them inspiration to do so. So I do thank y'all for your time and sharing your story on this. Oh, we're not done, by the way. We're not done. But I just want to make sure y'all understand the concept behind what this is. And yeah, it's a play on words. Yes, I am Rich James, goddamn it.
Number 21.
Oh, Jay.
Those days. What do y'all, because y'all still in New York, Kev, 6 Ev and Low, DL.
Yeah.
Face, you're all over the world these days.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, first and foremost, family, married, what's going on?
I'm not. Daughter graduated from college. Actually works for Discovery Network. In the marketing department, doing well. So you know that's always a testament for me is that the children are doing well. So I'm pretty good with that. You know.
Okay, Low.
Well, you know, I'm to be blessed with a family. You know, 4 kids and
three boys.
3 boys and a beautiful baby girl. You know, got a house on the corner as big as Norman Bates. Nah. Little word.
DJ 6 Ev.
Yeah, I got 2 daughters down there by you. One goes to Daniels in Westminster, and the baby's at Baltimore School for the Arts.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Family is important. Family is important. These cats is coming in here. See, C Ford says, "What up, fellas?"
Carlos.
Yeah.
One says, "Dopeness." Sky Zoo, West Side Guns, dopeness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Said Hard to Obtain knows what they're talking about.
All right.
Would love to see another album. Okay. So again, you got some folks going on. There's something going on out there. Let's more questions here. So I don't know if y'all know, you probably do know, 25-year anniversary of your debut album. Did you know that?
Yeah.
26.
Yeah.
26.
Actually, we on 26 years now.
26.
Yeah. Right.
That's a healthy amount of time, and folks just listen, like you said, taste. They listen to it a little more. I know I'm listening to it because I ain't gonna lie. I'm like you, Lo. I don't know what the hell these kids are saying.
Yeah, I mean, like I try to keep it simple. You know, the R&B, you know, grabs me. Like I said, you know, my youth, they try to keep me abreast of what's going on. Other than that, I mean, like I said, it's hard, man. I like the baby, and like Strizzy, like my boy Taste was saying, you know, I mean, that boy Pop Smoke, he was hard, man. I can only imagine. Like, damn, I wish we could stop senseless killing. You know what I mean? Like,
it's senseless violence. Yeah.
Crazy. You know, so yeah, it's what it is.
Right. Somebody said, what was your best childhood memory in New York?
Man, I mean, shit, I guess growing like.
What the hell was that face?
I know, because I got so many of them. Like, I can never give you just one.
It could weigh in any way. Like, you know what I mean? You can sit on the green couch and we can talk about it. It's like, you know what I mean? Which side do you want? But I'm gonna keep it positive. I would say just the opportunity to be able to achieve what we were able to achieve and to know that people go hard at this thing and we were able to do that. So I would say just that experience was a great achievement. You know, being out here from Long Island for sure.
And big up to Melody Massey, who at the time was working at BET and helped push our videos through and get us a voice to be heard.
That was a lot of recognition right there.
Yeah.
I would say for me, winning the gold medal for Long Island in '86 and bringing it home, you know.
Okay.
We won the Empire State Games gold medal, you know what I mean? Mr. Brandon, Mr. Brandon from Lakeview, you know. Lakeview would really help mold Roosevelt. There's a lot of connection between Lakeview and Roosevelt. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Case.
What up?
Answer the question. Best childhood memory.
That's what my memory was, winning that joint.
Playing summer league basketball and the hot dog truck in Lakeview Park after the pool.
Playing pools and shit, right?
You about some food. Lord have mercy.
Word.
Well, I like I said, there's too many to even talk about. But since you guys were sharing it, and we go way back, I have to say one of my favorite all time is when me and you, Taste, was playing football.
I was about to say that too.
And this was before all the hard top chain came to be. And as a young kid, we were playing football, and Warren was running back, and I was leading the block. I did the NFL block.
Yeah.
Warren, I heard Danny Cooper say, "Ooh, good block."
Ooh.
Warren stepped on my back, ran for about 88 yards.
80 yards. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that play like it was yesterday too. Franklin Square, nighttime game. Yep.
Lord have mercy. And I gotta say this. I gotta say shout out to your parents, because again, just the influence, it's again, you talk about some of the music and how things were back then. I think at any given moment, any of our parents would have popped us in our head if we ain't do right, and it was okay.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And it was okay, and that's the one thing that I don't really see, but I won't get to again. I remember I'm interviewing you guys, and just to talk to y'all and see y'all again. I am getting a little emotional because I do appreciate y'all taking the time. I appreciate y'all during that time. Hey, yo, Rich, come on. You even tried to get my son in the video. Devin was so high. Go ahead, Warren.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He woke up and said, "What?
What?
Taste." Remember my son woke up. He said, "What? I won cake."
You won cake.
Word of your mother.
Taste losing his memory.
Yo, I remember that.
I tell you, boy.
Word.
I tell you. So all right, let's keep it going here, because again, this stuff is still coming in, and we still got some stuff going on. So, what is your greatest success to date? Whether it's in music, outside of music, what is your greatest success to date?
I mean, for me, I guess to take what I learned in the relationships that I had to music and turn it into my own marketing company was the best thing, because that, like, the music allowed me the relationships to then get into music marketing, product placement, and it still pays me to this day.
Okay.
I would say for myself to obtain a piece of poppy, obtain a piece of this earth here. You know what I mean? Like the brewing process, and if you can get your hands on a piece of poppy, the whole perspective is to obtain it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for my success, I would say that was one of mine, because from where I come from, that's not something that would even be a picture. So from my perspective, I would say that was one of my achievements, for sure.
DJ 6'7".
I guess.
Yo, my brother just walked in.
Yo, what up? What up?
Some love.
Yo, Rich, what up, baby? Yeah.
Go ahead, Big Sev.
I would say just being a teacher and still coaching and working with the youth. That's just the best feeling ever. You know, that's my favorite thing to do. I'm a teacher still, so you know.
Okay. See here.
Yo, how's your family, Rich? How's your mom doing, everybody?
Oh, well, mom's is good. All is well. You know, she's still a cop. Always a cop. Always a cop. but she's doing well. She's doing well. As a matter of fact, she was on. I had a show titled "On Uncomfortable Conversations" during all this time. You know, the stuff happening with George Floyd. So that was a good conversation, and she was on the panel. So
good. Well, tell her I said hello. Give her my love.
That I will. Yes, indeed. So, I had you talked about with your kids, and I had my youngest daughter, on the show as well. She does some dancing. So and these kids be getting it too, boy.
Yeah.
So
yo, how old is
Devin like 102.
Yeah.
Yeah. Devin's like 20. I want to say Devin's 29 or something.
Yeah.
28, 27, 28.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right, so let's get back to you guys.
Okay.
So in terms of what are you doing to maintain and kind of stay mentally, emotionally, and physically during these times, these crucial times, right? Because again, normally we all probably be doing something else, traveling here, doing something. But how are you keeping yourself? How you maintaining overall?
Well, look, honestly, for me, this shit ain't really stopped me much. It just had me figure out more creative ways to keep the revenue coming. You know what I mean? And but like I was a firm believer in in crisis, you kind of figure out who's the talkers, who's the doers. You know what I'm saying? And I always wanted to be a doer, so it really didn't stop much of what I was doing.
That sounds like Tanta talking there. Yes, indeed. May she rest in power.
Absolutely.
You know that. All right, DL.
What's the question again? My bad, bro. What was the question?
So how do you maintain yourself? How did you maintain yourself during this time?
Well, for me, besides the mask and washing my hands consistently and things like that, fortunately I'm a 9-to-5er. Well, if 2 jobs, but anyway, no, I'm a 9-to-5er and I'm still currently working. So for me, I'm working short hours or whatever the case is. So it's working out for me.
Gotcha. 6 Sev, how'd you?
Without telling you.
So you're teaching now, but so class is not in session, is it?
Well,
not physically.
Not physically in session, but I'm still working with my marketing. I do digital marketing for a company out of Baltimore. So and just staying. I still play, so I'm playing every day, almost. So that physical. Oh yeah, and that too.
Okay.
See, everybody, this is what keeps us mentally strong right here during this COVID.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. All right.
Yeah.
So, let's talk. So, Taste, I know you're bi-coastal now. Right. So how was it like being, because you're back on this side of the world, and that's why we make sure we're here to capture you. And the cases over there kind of got high. Is that why you got out of Dodge for a few days?
What you say?
Cali, because the numbers went up high in Cali. Right?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that's one of the reasons. Got up out of there for a little while, let them figure it out. Come back to New York, see my family for a couple of weeks before I head back out to the West Coast.
Okay. Oh, that's too funny. So, all right. Someone said, tell us something that Rich or no one else knows about you that's really interesting or funny. Shit. Somebody asked that question. They want you to tell something that's really interesting or funny that no one else really knows about you.
Well, it might not be about him, but if you ever came to Rich crib to spend the night on Friday night, better make sure you go get up early and clean because this balls are not playing. Word of mother. So I used to probably be the only one that come and spend the night on Friday night because I'd either have to clean up my house or his house, and at least we could all clean together.
you and David Bradshaw.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
No. Oh yeah.
Y'all are terrible. Y'all are terrible. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question here. So apparently New Yorkers have a certain accent, which I hear that often, still sometimes. But the question is, what is your favorite word? How often do you use it? And can you give us an example? You know, it's like New York, no doubt.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Is it that favorite or is it just what everybody? I don't know. For my favorite word, I think to be honest with you, absolutely.
Yeah, I say. I
say absolutely all the time.
Word.
Because I'm not absolute. I mean, I'm
not
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, because
that's a good one. I say that a lot too, Lord. Absolutely.
That means absolutely. You know,
no doubt.
It wraps it all up.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. Somebody be like, "Yo, son," they be trying to mock me. They be like, "Son," first of all,
son.
I don't even say that.
Or word to mother. Word to mother.
I mean, I'm quick to make up something.
Word to mother.
Word to mother. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! All right,
Fact.
Here's a good one. Saying though.
Keep your hands off. Somebody.
Yeah, I'm saying though, right? Yeah.
Lord, okay. Someone asked the question. Can you share how you came up with each of your names? So, Taste, you go first.
All right. Well, at the time I was maybe about 12 years old, and I was supposed to battle Flavor Flav at the MLK Center in Rockville Center. And so at the time, my name, remember, everybody was like Easy E, so my middle name was Trent, so they was calling me Mellow T. So my little brother was like, "Yo, you can't go in there with no name like Mellow T battling Flavor Flav. So you should be MC Taste, which is every flavor," and it stuck.
Okay. No, how it came on DL?
For me, I think it was just my personality. You know, like I love to come out when it was raining, which is weird. Like, who likes to hang out in the rain? Thing about my personality is like, shit, I didn't want you to know what was going on. So it was just pretty much worked out with just who I was. So I would say, yeah, that's pretty much where the came from.
Okay.
A reserve type.
Okay. And Kev, now down at
Todd Smith.
Yeah.
Cornelia. He was snapping on me. And he said, "You gotta be the tallest DJ in the world." I was like, "I'm 6'7". DJ 6'7". He's like, "Yes." And then he was like,
stuck.
"You gonna have to pay me for that."
That sounds about right. That sounds like Todd. That sounds like Cornelius. Okay, cool. Well, one of the things, gentlemen, again, I want to thank y'all for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time. I do want to thank and shout out our guy, Miles Eason, for putting this together. He will tell you literally since I started the show that all I wanted to do, one of my things was, if nothing else, before this show dies, which it ain't going nowhere no time soon, I'm gonna have hard time playing on here. So I want to thank Miles for that.
Excellent.
One other things I like to ask my guests before I close out is, what does living a rich life mean to you? And we'll start off with you, DJ 6'7", then we'll go to PL, then we'll go to Taste to close it out for us.
Wanting for nothing.
Okay.
Rich life, everything, you know, like it's not just monetary, you spiritually, you're healthy, your children are healthy, you got some money in the bank, you know, rich, you know, that's
okay.
Good, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
Living life for me is working hard, loving the people that you can see every day, you know, your loved ones, your family, you know. I think being able to embrace them every day and to achieve great things.
Okay. Hey, I hope you ain't freeze on me.
Okay. To me, living a rich life is being able to do something for a living that you love to do, so it never feels like work.
Oh, yeah. I like that. And I'll just so you know, I will send a link out to email it so you can, again, post it out. It's going to be streaming. Again, I want to thank you. For me, it's real simple. Living a Rich Life is about good health, strong relationships, financial freedom, goals and achievement, extraordinary experiences, and philanthropy. I want to thank you, gentlemen. I want to thank you, kings. For one, we don't talk every day, but when we talk, I feel like I don't skip a beat with you guys, man. And we're gonna do a Hard Top Tame album. I'm gonna have something to do with it. If you got to put one song together for me, goddamn it. That's facts. So I'm working on something else.
It's definitely something that we've been talking about for quite some time. So hopefully we'll be able to make it come to fruition.
No doubt. So we're gonna work on something, put some things together. I see why not. See, we still got some fuel in the tank. I know I do. Y'all look like y'all do too. So it won't be from a lack of trying. I do thank you for watching. I do thank those for listening. I am your host, Rich James. At the end of the day, make sure you be inspired to live a rich life. Until next time, I'll talk to you next week. I'm out.
Yo, thanks for having us.
Peace, my brother. Love you, bro.
I'm about to go listen to Street Dweller now.
Bump it.
No doubt.
All right, baby.
All right.